Hi guys, welcome back to S.U.R.E Parenting. Thank you so much for clicking today's video. Today we're going to talk about Halloween. Halloween is one of my kids' favorite days of the year, and a lot of people I know absolutely love the whole month of October because of all the scary and the spooky and the fun decorations and the haunted houses and the corn mazes and all of the fun things that represent fall to us. So it's interesting that at the same time, it's one of the days of the year that parents dread. And that's because of all the candy. It is a candy storm on Halloween. And there seems to be this, and there always has been as far as I know, this competition to get the most candy possible. And I saw a post today, the parents are walking 16 miles to get $12 worth of candy. And it's true. You can buy candy all the time. It's always at every store. So what is it about Halloween that makes it so exciting to just get hordes and hordes of candy? I don't know the answer to that, but I will tell you how we have managed to thoroughly enjoy Halloween and not let it totally ruin our lives for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. Step one, just enjoy the day. Enjoy the day, carve the pumpkins if that's what you like, have apple cider, do the things that make fall fun. Focus on bonding and actual activities together as a family. Even the activity of getting out and walking around the neighborhood, that's fun. Walking instead of riding in a car, if that's an option where you live and it's not completely freezing. Getting those steps in and being active together as a family releases endorphins. It makes it a much more enjoyable evening. Then collect all the candy you're going to collect. Hit up the teal pumpkin houses. For anybody who doesn't know, Teal Pumpkin Project was started for kids with food allergies. And if you see a teal pumpkin at a house, they will have allergy-friendly items. Most often that means toys. And that's what we give out at our house. We have a huge bucket full of little toys. And it's interesting, the first year I did this, I was afraid that kids would think, lame. Because a lot of parents say that. They're like, oh, that's lame. I want chocolate. But given the choice, most kids actually chose the toy. And I think that's partly because of the novelty. That's one of the few houses they'd actually get a toy at. Partly because the toy lasts. I mean, they're not all that expensive a toy, so they're not going to last forever, but it's going to last longer than 3 seconds it takes to pop a Snickers bar in your mouth. And then partly I think because a lot of the kids wanted pencils and like the Halloween erasers and such, because they got to take them to school and show their friends what they got. And that was very, very cool and exciting for them. So I always have a huge box of toys that I put out for kids, and it is inclusive for everybody. Everybody can get something. They don't have to worry about allergies. They don't have to worry about any of that. So hit up those houses for sure. Even if you think, what's the point of that? I want the chocolate. You'll get plenty of chocolate. Your kid just might get a total kick out of getting some of those toys, and then they get to feel like they can keep more if you do the next step, which is to bring it all home and sort it together. Let them have fun with it. Turn it into a learning experience if you have kids in that younger age range. Sort it by color, sort it by type, sort it by letter. If you have a beginning reader, what does this candy say? Okay, put all the Twixes here. Things like that. You can have fun with that. You can separate between chocolate and non-chocolate. So my kids are allergic to food dyes. So anything pretty much that's non-chocolate automatically gets booted. Food dyes are neurotoxins for all kids. Some kids react stronger, some kids react less strong. But if your kid has food dyes and is absolutely psychotic, probably a good indicator that they should not be eating food dyes. So that right there cuts candy about in half. Then from there, I let my kids choose what they want to eat. And I don't inherently put a limit on it right away. But what we do talk about is how this candy makes us feel. It makes us feel really excited. It makes us feel happy because it tastes really yummy. And if we eat too much, it makes us feel kind of crummy because our bellies hurt. So with that in mind, my kids tend to self-limit. Also, the end of trick-or-treating is right around bedtime, so they're tired. They usually eat a couple of pieces, and then, this is the good part, this is my favorite part, we started years back with a tradition called the Switch Witch. So the Switch Witch means that my kids put all of their candy back in a box or bucket or whatever, and they put it out of our front door. They leave it there. Then the Switch Witch comes, takes the candy as an offering, and leaves them a toy in its place. Now, my 6-year-old tells me this year that I must be the Switch Witch. I told him that he'll have to wait and see if I leave the house tonight to go and get a toy, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. We often preface these things as games we're playing Switch Witch, so there's no direct lying involved if that's something that concerns you, but it's really fun. The kids often have gotten something that they've been wanting that they thought they weren't going to get until solstice or Christmas, and it's just an exciting extra that we get to do with our kids, and it gets 6 pounds of candy out of my house. My hips thank us for this tradition. I, of all of my family, have the least amount of self-control, partly because I've had the most issues with restriction in the past. We try not to restrict too much. My kids get a sugar thing every day. They get to choose what that is. They also have a lot of say in things like, oh, well, we want cookies. Okay, how can we make cookies that fit in with no food dyes, no gluten, and no or very low sugar? And we make things that fit into our standards rather than just saying no, none. I think that that helps them. I think that that gives them a sense of control in what they're eating, and they have a sense of pride that they're able to have a couple of candies and get that treat, but not eat so much that it makes them sick. The big kids are 6 and 4. Obviously, the 3-month-old's not going to be eating any candy, but the 6 and 4-year-old will, and they will have a night where they will eat candy, and they will be very excited about it. And, you know, I did point out to them, to the 6-year-old this year, that the candy's always at the store. If it really gets down to it and you really want a candy some other time of the year, it's available, you know, and that removes some of the scarcity that causes kids to hoard their candy or gorge on their candy. And then they are really excited about Switch Witch to see what they're going to get. And so they willingly put what they're done with in the bag or box, put it outside, and then the next morning they wake up super excited to see what they got. They rarely have any kind of sugar hangover. They are homeschooled, so I don't have to worry about sending them to school Friday and being disastrous for their teachers. However, I did teach, and having a bunch of kids who just had hordes and hordes of candy, the next day was not a great day. We just planned for that ahead of time as teachers. But it is such a fun activity. So alternatives to that are the Great Pumpkin can also do the switch, and then there's actually an author local to Idaho who wrote a book called The Switcheroo Kangaroo. And what I love about this is that this is a character. It's a little kangaroo with a pouch that's black and white striped, and there's actually a toy that goes with this book. And the kids can put the candy in the pouch, and then they get a toy. It's the same idea, except for this author extrapolated that to all of the holidays that involve hordes of candy. So the Switcheroo Kangaroo takes candy from kids who have tons and tons and more than enough, and takes it to kids who don't have any candy. And that can happen for Valentine's Day, that can happen for St. Patrick's Day, that can happen for Christmas, that can happen for Hanukkah, that can happen for any of the holidays that involve lots of sweets. And I thought that was such a neat idea to take that one step further and apply it to everything. So Switcheroo Kangaroo is on Instagram, and I will put a link in the description so that you can check that out. It's really fun. My kids got the little plush toy, that's the word, the little kangaroo and the book, and we read the book and they love the kangaroo. So the kangaroo will take place in our house on other holidays, but Switch Witch is a tried and true tradition, so that is staying in place for Halloween. In addition to that, find ways to make it fun to have those healthier treats. We take apples and we skin a couple of strips off with a potato peeler, and we make it a mummy. We take carrots and do a little dollop of hummus and a sliced olive, and those are eyeballs. We do the carrot slices. We do the mandarins, we peel it off, put a little stick of celery in the top, and that's a pumpkin. You can take bell peppers and cut and carve just like a regular jack-o'-lantern. You can carve a bell pepper and, you know, stuff it with whatever's for dinner, but then they have a jack-o'-lantern for dinner. You can do the same thing with cheese and put that on stuff. There's so many options. It's really fun. And it gives kids other ways to enjoy the holiday that maybe aren't just centered around candy. Candy can be part of it, candy can be a very enjoyable part of it, but it doesn't have to be all of it. And I think that when we do that, we feel better as parents. We have less to deal with, less stress, because our kids aren't going completely bonkers crazy, and they still get to enjoy their holiday, and we get to enjoy the holiday with them. So that is how we do Halloween around here. And I hope that you have a wonderful, safe, and fun Halloween night with your family. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.